Camera number 229 of 365 is this Ricoh 500G viewfinder or stroke rangefinder camera. Very compact, slightly different from the RF that I believe I considered right at the beginning of the project. Much more metal is in evidence rather than the other one, which was very much more plastic. So as a consequence, this is a little bit more heavier, but very nice to could put it in a pocket. When I was using the camera, I was out and about with it in my pocket. It offers both manual functions and aperture priority, but for the aperture priority you need a battery to power that mode. So let's go ahead and put a battery in the camera. So the camera takes a single LR44 battery that powers both the meter and the aperture priority mode. So let's just put that battery in. We have to put the positive terminal facing out of the camera. It does tell us on the base. There we go. While we're on the base of the camera, we have a tripod mount and the release button that separates the film advance so that we can wind our film back into our camera. The camera features a Ricoh 40mm f2.8, and there's the little sensor there for the exposure. Our film speed is set by just rotating the dial here. So the outer ring, and then, or the inner ring rather, and then the outer ring focuses, and there is a split image or double image which we line up over the camera to give us complete focus, but we do have around the ring a distance scale, so we can look at that if we so desire. Our shutter speeds go from 1/500th of a second down to B. Presumably that's the reason why it's called a Ricoh 500, I would guess. And then the final ring is our aperture ring, and on that aperture ring we can set it to A, and then if we set it to A, the camera now becomes an aperture priority camera. And so when we look through the viewfinder, depending on what shutter speed we set, it tells us the aperture that the camera is going to choose. If we take it off aperture priority mode, again the camera will tell us, depending on the shutter speed, what aperture it feels we should set, and then we can either choose to obey that or we can choose to ignore that if we want. On the top here we have our hot shoe, our film advance, our frame counter, and our shutter release, and then our film our film rewind. As we mentioned, to rewind the film we have to press the base there, and then we can rewind our film. To actually get the film in and out of the camera, we have to just lift the rewind crank, and you'll notice I've had to replace the seals there. They were all very gummy all around here, so I've replaced those, and it does seem to have been light tight, which is good. And pretty much that's it really, as far as the Ricoh 500G goes. Very pleasant camera to use. Oh, self-timer, mustn't forget the self-timer here, which I don't think I've actually used. Let's just wait for it to... There we go. So, that is camera number 229 of 365.